I think we've already achieved so much. There's 25 athletes. There's multi-medalists that are returning to the Games, and then we've got a big group of people who are just this is their first Games. We've got Britain's first Paralympic female snowboarder in Nina, and I think just them getting to the start line and putting in their best prepared performance is going to be really, really special to watch.
Right, let's talk snow, because you did the business 12 years ago with that gold medal around your neck.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the opportunities for medals on the snow.
Yeah, so we've got a team that are in all disciplines of the downhills, the Super G, Super Combined, GS and Slalom, and then we also have Scott Mina, a flag bearer down in Pedazzo in the biathlon and cross country. So I think that we've got opportunities for medals, but I think with winter sport it's so inconsistent in terms of like the snow, the kind of like just kind of the luck of your bib draw and kind of what happens, and keeping it all together and like focusing just on your performance can be really, really difficult. So I think they're just really unpredictable, and we saw that in the Winter Olympics, but I think winter sports is kind of hard to kind of predict medals and hang your hopes on any one person. So I think the fact that we've got so much experience and it's spread out so much that there could be medals galore.
Now, we understand the jeopardy of winter sports. We had that during the Olympics, and it'll be no different here for the Paralympics. But you mentioned there sort of hanging medals around people's necks. People will have heard of Neil and Andrew Simpson because of their successes at Beijing, the brother combination there. Pressure, because the pressure is what they did in Beijing, do it again here, pick up 2 medals. It's not quite that easy. So can they do it?
They could, yeah. And I think that managing pressure is something that you kind of work off snow and on snow, and then like under pressure and then when there is no pressure kind of thing. And we really work ourselves internally to think of like racing like you train and training like you race, but it's a totally different experience, this multi-sport environment, being in the athlete village, having so much media, you know, attention, and kind of then it's our job as team behind the team, as support staff, to protect the athletes and kind of let them do their job, think about the rollers, the different undulations on the snow, and kind of really focus on their day-to-day business of being an athlete. And I think that, yeah, each one of the athletes has like a really, really great journey here, and they've got a way to optimise it, and it's just about whether they're able to harness that and just really have a great day out in snow.
Just in terms of when people watch the Paralympics, they're watching elite sport, but they're also seeing a backstory about a challenge that you've had to overcome to even be... You were just telling me a minute, yeah, I love flying down a mountain at 90 miles an hour, and I'm going, how do you do that? So how did you get into the sport? How did you do it?
I know, we were really lucky that when I first began with sport, it was very much like like an investment in my own kind of time, my own little journey, my own adventure, and I was gathering all these people along. And then when I hooked up with Charlotte after the Vancouver Games, and in 2011 we went to World Championships, and then we got a silver and a bronze, and that was like the first World Championship medals at that level for us. And then we got like funding, like the National Lottery funding, and it like really elevated us. And now, you know, over 1,000 athletes are supported from the National Lottery, with like 208 million since 1995 in investment in sport. And that sport isn't just in elite performance, but it's grassroots. It's like in venues, it's in sports psychology, sport performance, kind of like areas where you can do strength and conditioning at home. And because me and Charlotte had so little in terms of like resources, we like really maximised that at home in terms of strength and conditioning in our institutes, and then brought it out here in that like isolated performance out here. So I think that kind of working together collaboratively at home really helped us. That's
one of the things you mentioned the name Charlotte there, your guide. Can you explain how that works? Because that's a unique thing about parasport, disability sport, is that you're relying on somebody else, but somebody's also relying on you. How does it work? You're visually impaired, so you need Charlotte, your guide, and Neil and Andrew Simpson rely on each other as well. How does it work, Kelly? Okay, it's quite insane. So I can't see the guide. I look out for their orange fluorescent bib. We've got our Bluetooth radio communications, and we've got a shorthand like commands for like what we're doing. So instead of describing the beautiful landscape or the snow underneath, they're kind of like right arm down, push, tighten, like over a roller, like really left foot. Kind of that. It's more like a navigator or like something rally driving.
Yeah, very much so. But you've got to remember that the guide is looking ahead, assessing what's going to happen, skiing themselves. So they've got to be a really competitive skier, but they also are like responsible for my safety, and like if they mangle me, that's it, it's over. So like they really need to be really competent, but also that kind of like personality where they're there to like nurture and kind of bring me along, you know. And that you know, it takes an interesting personality, somebody who really does love ski racing but also loves kind of working together in order to be able to create something really beautiful. It's kind of artistry when you think about it. It's really beautiful. Right. We're going to change tack to something that's, well, we keep on hearing that
Russia a lot
Yes.
about here. Yesterday, we were covering that a lot. What I wanted to ask you is, when you're an athlete, you've been in the bubble of a games, but there's other things, there's outside things going on, politics, conflict, war, etc. How, as an athlete, do you cope with that? Because your job is to try and compete and try and win a medal for your country.
Yeah.
So how will the athletes here be coping, knowing that there's a lot of the talk is about Russian athletes being here at these games?
Yeah, and you know, around every games there's always political issues and there's always things happening all over the world, and it's been happening through time. I myself had it in 2014, and I think that the best way for an athlete, and speaking as a retired athlete, is you really do have to get into your bubble and like exclude and kind of move all of those issues like out of the way. Of course, if you are going to use your platform in the mix zone to speak about those issues, it's going to take some of your energy. So it's kind of a choice of whether you're going to, for these next 2 weeks, focus on what you've been working for 4, 8, 12, your whole life, or whether it is that you're going to address those issues and kind of talk to them and talk about them. And then as soon as you do make a statement, then obviously you get comments and replies, and kind of maybe it does take a little bit out of context. And I suppose as an athlete, the way that I used to look at it is, look, you've signed up to be an athlete, you've got your job to do, and the IPC, the Board of Arbitration of Sport, and, you know, CAS and World Anti-Doping, it's their governance and it's their work and it's the, you know, sport administrators' work in order to be able to make sport fair, safe, and, you know, give the medals to the person who did the race at the best, you know, the best on the day.